it's good to be back.
And welcome, Rooster Boosters, to Rooster Booster Time. Again, it's the big guy, Scott Ferrara, coming at you another week, another interview, another new Rooster. I kind of teased it today, and I forgot who got it right. I think Rob Aramascu got it right. I forgot who it was. When I posted my thing, I posted all of the Irish lads and said, guess which one's going to be on the show. And here we have Oisin O'Neill. Oisin, thank you so much for being on. It's a pleasure. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. We appreciate you having us, mate. Of course.
Awesome. I already see the jersey behind you, a Shaquille O'Neal Heat jersey.
You know it. That's
so
it.
Rocking.
I got Paul O'Neill up there too, though. Don't forget.
There we go. Rocking the Yankees. bringing back the old school Yankees. The big guy is a Met fan, so you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the show. But it's funny. You got to rep where you're at, and repping the Bronx and the Yankees is always a good thing, whether it's back in Ireland or in Brooklyn where you are. So I'm going to get right to it. You're a per diem player, hourly player. There's an acronym for it, I think, right? So you're one of those. Before you die on screen.
Before I die on screen here, sorry. I'm an hourly player. I've been with Rooney now for going into hopefully my third season with the lads. I kind of came in as a bit of a wild card at the start through Keys, who was the forwards coach at Old Blue. At the time, they needed another hooker, and he was kind of transform me into a hooker there at Old Blue. So I kind of gave that a go there for the last 2 seasons. It was a bit of a change. I'm a back row originally, open sides, and then this year I kind of was getting some good vibes from Greg and from Marty that need to go back to the back row and kind of specialize in a position. And I don't have much time left in me. Like I know I'm 27, but I gotta still use what I got left and be wise about it. So I'm gonna specialize in the back row, and I hope to give that a good shot this year at the open side. So that's the plan for me.
That's awesome. The hooker position, I think, is sometimes a little too specialized if you start a little too late. But don't get me wrong. If you have to throw somebody in a position, hooker's not that hard. Just bring the ball back and deal with it. But so that was actually going into my first question. Knowing you're a team player, and if McWilliams said, "Listen, we got to put you at tight head," you do it. But so that's your natural position? Is that open side?
Open side is my natural position. I've been playing since I was a little baba back home. Started at 7 years old. Same with all the lads from back in Ireland. We start very young, and it's a big scene back home in the school. And we, I was trying to pursue something back home as well. It's a very competitive pool back there, and it's kind of growing to be that over here as well. So that was one of the things when I came here. I actually was brought over. Actually, Marty was the one that kind of got me involved and got me brought over here to play for Old Blue. And I was in the back row at that stage. And then when he had left, I was kind of, told that hey, look, hooker's a pretty specialized position, and there's limited numbers, and every team needs at least 3 hookers on them. As you can see last season, injuries and stuff that they happen, coming into game 5 and 6. So I kind of gave that my shot and thought, here, look, I'll give hooker a go. And like you said, it is very specialized. There's a lot more than just throwing the ball straight into a line out, and that's half of the battle. But the scrummaging as well, and how technical it is. It takes a long time to develop into a serious player in the front row, and it's something that I've I've been blessed. I've got Butcher there, who's, a longtime friend, is also, he's a great mentor in the sense of, I mean, look where he's at. He's after broken into the international scene. And so, I mean, I don't have like the worst people around me to teach me what's going on, but you do got to pick it up fairly quickly if you want to get some game time. So, but I'm taking the back road route now, and we had a bit of time off, and I'm kind of doing back to the training of the back row, and open side is where I'm naturally at.
Awesome. You're right. You do have such a talented player pool around you, and a lot of MLR teams do, which is nice to see. There's a lot of parity in the league, even though sometimes the record doesn't really show that, as we could see with the Austin teams recently. And I think really Austin's issue was an internal struggle beyond the rugby pitch, which kind of sucks. But going back to Rooney, we had the shortened season. One of the things I love about you is that when we have our away parties and you're not selected for the away matches, you come to those away watch parties and you hang out with the crowd. And why be so public with it? Because a lot of guys wouldn't do that.
Well, look, I mean, like where I'm from, it's all about being a club man, and like that's just the biggest thing. It's a bit of a different energy back home with that. Like your clubhouse is really your second home, and for me it was Old Belvedere, and whether you win or lose, you have to show your face. And, you've got all the Alakadoos there. They're the ones that keep the lights on, and they're the ones that, pay your check. And realistically, they'll be the first ones to give you grief when you lose, and they'll be the first ones to buy you a pint when you win. So, you have to be part of the club. Like, it's just part of it. You're not going to be able to grow the game without following, and, they're not going to be able to pass that on themselves. So, it's the camaraderie of the game, and yourself. It's the same reason why, you love it as well, and about just getting amongst it. And I love kind of getting out there. Oh, I'm a bit of a social butterfly now, Scott, now, but I do like to get out and, chat to the people out there and see what they're feeling and what they're thinking of what's going on, and keep them very much involved with what we're doing here, because we're doing a lot of big things,
Absolutely. It's so nice to see. Alex McDonald, unfortunately, got injured at the beginning of the season. Yeah. He was one of those guys that when he was physically able, he came to the watch parties. Matt Work, and another guy, if he wasn't selected, he comes to the watch parties. So I think it's ingrained in the rugby culture to do that. And it's great that it's happening in the MLR. Now, you just talked about being a social butterfly, and I got to be honest, out of all the Roosters, you have one of the most entertaining social media I mean, it's like you, and then it's like you see Ben Foden, shirtless with his nipples, and then you see you doing crazy shit. 9 times out of 10, you're annoying your girlfriend. So, how does she stand you annoying her on social media all the time?
Well, look, self-praise is no praise, Scott, but I am a bit of a catch. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'll tell you, but no, she's, look, I think anyone who's significant other is, has a rugby player, you got to be supportive, whether you're a fan or you're a player. It's really a way of life, and there is a lot of sacrifice in it. You can't plan your going away with your girlfriend every weekend and, your little dinners, because you never know after the game, I'm too tired or whatever. And, you're training all week and you're up to, even I work as well. So balancing both of that. So you need to make sure you do have someone around you that's going to be very supportive of what you're doing. And, you definitely have to push the limits there, Scott, though, and have a bit of fun with it at the end of the day. And I do get a bit of attention on the social media, but I think that's why, that's why we do it. I think that's why we're loved. We got to give the people what they want.
Absolutely. It's funny because you had 2 weeks ago we had Kirk Hamilton, and the way he kind of takes it easy is he watches horror movies. Chris Mattina seems to just kind of live life and he goes places, and you like to be on social media screwing around, and it's a good thing. Everybody has their thing to kind of like relieve that pressure, and it's amazing that in this day and age you can use social media to do that. It's not always about all the horror stories about social media. You can have a little fun and screw around. You can have fun with your significant other, and they appreciate it. So speaking of, you've kind of been rolling into my set of questions. I don't know if you're spying on me or what. So what do you do off the pitch? What kind of work do you do?
Well, to be honest, like I work in sales, so I mean I'm a high energy person, and I really hit the ground running when it came to New York. It was one of my biggest things, you know. While I was very fortunate to be brought over here to play rugby, I just, you know, told myself I'm going to work my arse off and really make something of myself out here. And, you know, at the start, when I first came, I was working like 4 or 5 jobs and working 20-hour days. And it was like absurd trying to balance that with rugby. It was very unhealthy until I got injured. And then I kind of realized like, all right, I need to kind of figure out here what I'm going to do and find a balance. So that was my first year. And after that, I've got it all balanced now. I found myself a nice steady 9 to 5, and I don't have to run around being a barman here and a nightclub promoter there and whatnot. So I'm working a decent job now in tech sales. But yeah, like, I mean, they haven't a clue about what goes on. I tell them, you know, oh, I'm going to a game now, or I'm, you know, I got to rush off the training, and like I can't go to Friday drinks, like, you know, happy hours and all this stuff. And they really just don't have a clue kind of what we're all about. Unfortunately, they never got a chance, you know, to come see one of our games. But you know, I've always wanted to just be like, like, come on down and watch one of our games. You'll see what we're all about here. And but yeah, no, off the pitch, it's, you know, trying to just, you know, relax. And rugby is my relaxation. You know, like everyone likes to. Some people like to pick up a book. Others like to walk the beach. I like to go out with the lads and, you know, and get physical and have a good time and throw the ball around. And, you know, that's probably been the hardest part about all of this, you know, COVID situation, is about not being with the lads. I'm very much of a lad. Like, I need to be around the boys, and, you know, I need to be thrown around the pill and just playing around. And, you know, we've been doing it too. We've been meeting up in our little secret circles and playing little games of tip. And it's the only thing that really keeps me sane here, Scott, is rugby. So like that's pretty much what I do off the pitch is training and playing and socializing. That's pretty much me, you know. So the rugby just keeps me on the straight and narrow. That's my fix. That's what I need. So
it burns that extra energy. I could tell you're a sales guy. You know.
Yeah, I've got all the D's, the ADD, the ADHD, and all that stuff. So you can imagine, as a child, I was a madman. But you know, as I'm older now, I've, you know, been able to deal with all that, and you know, definitely keeping active and keeping busy is what I need. I need a fire under my arse all the time, and so, you know, rugby does that. You know, between the training and you know, wanting to go out and just play, and you know, whatever limited time I then have left, I would like to go out and see people and hang out with them. And you know, you gotta that's the beauty of this city too, just having, you know, the best of both worlds, and you can fit it all in your day. I mean, I know you had you know, you see Nate and a couple of other boys that are working full-time jobs, and you know, people think it's crazy, and it is, but at the same time, like, you know, the show goes on, you know, and, you know, like, I feel like if you put a bit of structure and, you know, rugby, I think, is what provided that for me. You know, being on time and you know, following orders and listening to feedback and, you know, constantly tweaking things and bettering yourself. And it falls into really every aspect in what you do. So whatever you do off the pitch, whether it's work or anything else, it all falls right into the same path, you know, so.
Absolutely. It's funny. I'm going to say this. This is probably the 150th time I've said this on a rugby related show. But I coach youth football, American football for kids. And one of the things I got out of it was this thing called Lombardi Time, and named after Vince Lombardi. And when he was coaching, he was coaching Fordham University and obviously the Green Bay Packers. It was Lombardi Time. So if you're 15 minutes early to a meeting, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're going to be late, don't even bother showing up. And that everybody always asks, how are you always 10 to 15 minutes early? Because I've been that way since I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, Scott, people are watching this too, be like, that man is never on time. I've definitely been guilty of being later too for a bus, but I can assure you that that's what it is. It's the lads around you, keep you accountable. And this year, even with Greg as coach and stuff, like we felt that they have such a great strength and conditioning team. They're right there, leading the way there. And if you're there and you're not stretching up beforehand, and you need to give yourself that time to get into your mental space, especially on the cold nights. You need to get out there, get your stretches in, be prepared, warmed up, because once training starts, like, that's it. And it's your own fault if you aren't prepared. And they're watching. The lads are watching, and the coaches are watching. Like, everything building up, to training. And I'm, as I said, like, I'm doing I work as well on the side, so I'm not there during the day like some of the other players are. And so when you get there, you need to be very much switched on, and it starts with your preparation and your warm-up. So very much got to be on the button.
Absolutely. I think that's the thing about Rooney, is having players like Mike Brown, Matt Work, and I mean, Matthew Bastro has been a professional rugby player now for X amount of years. Ben Foden. It teaches the guys who haven't done it, this is how you actually be a pro. This is what you do as a pro athlete, not just necessarily a rugby player, but this is how you carry yourself and work that way. And then I think the second big thing that helps Rooney, that, believe it or not, all you guys bitch about, is practicing in the cold in January on Staten Island with the wind blowing. It sucks, but you know what? It sets you up to toughen you up. So when you do play in Austin and it's 105 degrees, you're like, we kind of did this before, on the opposite end of the spectrum, and I think it kind of, they say in sports, iron sharpens iron. So I think playing in that type of weather, even though you guys constantly complain about it, does help you out in the long run.
No, absolutely. Pressure does make diamonds, and I can assure you that. Like, we were actually all laughing, like, not too long ago, like, myself and Harry Bennett, like, just when we were out doing sprints in the sun, just thinking like how funny it was. We were crawling in the bloody snow in a blizzard for not too long ago there, and we're all kind of thinking like, Jesus, so what a shame that we couldn't really play on this season. I mean, we really put ourselves through the paces there in the preseason, and I mean, it definitely is a bitter winter out here, and it does add to to our game, and does add the character. And you can imagine, just we're such a vast group of lads, coming from all different areas, and whether some of us play for the two clubs in New York, or playing outside of that and international duties and whatnot. It's just kind of like, it's funny that when we're all there crawling in the snow together, it really kind of brings it home that we we're all here, we're all in this together. So it's definitely lots of banter and lots of memories there for sure.
That's awesome. It's the camaraderie helps with the culture. The culture is created by the players and the coaches, and it shows on the product. It shows on the on-field product what kind of culture you have. So I'm going to ask some more Oisin centric questions here. So we're going to go with who is your sports hero?
Jeez, my sports hero. Oh my God, I should have definitely prepared for this one. I've got many, to be honest. I think I'm going to go with the obvious one here now. I think Mike Tyson coming back is, I think he's going to be a lot of people's heroes. And like, he's definitely not one that I've been like, oh, he's my ultimate hero my whole life. But I think he's pretty incredible human. The fact that, I've been seeing these training videos he's doing, and like the shape that man's in, and I was watching these interviews in the past. It's his whole mentality, like how he's like, all I've known is this, like, this is all I do is know how to use these fists. And like, I just love that this man is just going back in the ring. And I know it's only an exhibition, but it's, you got to applaud him. And he's just, his mentality, he's just a different animal, different cut of the cloth. And yeah, definitely look up to him for that, for sure.
Absolutely. It is. And he has that, like they say, people are barrel chested, and he has that at age 53 or whatever. I mean, it's to I mean, he's always been a guy that seems to be relatively in shape, but when he put his mind to it to start training, it's ridiculous. He looks like, the Atlas guys, and
Yeah.
it is unbelievable
No,
what you could do if I mean, and even he was known for his power, but he is a boxer. He can do some technical stuff. So I can't wait to see that fight actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you even saw like the Tyson Fury fight. Not to change it to boxing now, but, like that's another animal of a man. Like, guy's completely out of shape, and he's just his movement, and everything. Oh, it's phenomenal. Just
Absolutely.
shows you, it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind for sure.
Absolutely. And so here's a question. I think who did we ask? We asked, I think, Chad Golf recently on the other show I'm on. Chad Golf was a wrestler in high school, and we said, would you have a MMA match with Conor McGregor? So I'm going to ask you, having no wrestling experience and only really being a rugby player, do you think you can last at least 2 rounds with Conor McGregor, 2 5-minute rounds?
Yeah, I think I can for sure. And I'll tell you, like, I'm not a fighter. Like, I mean, I definitely can be a dirty player at times. Like, I'm very physical and aggressive, but it's just like I only do that just because if you're not on my team, like, God bless you. But if you are, like, I'm here and I got your back, and McGregor and all that, like, I'll throw myself into really anything, and we'll. Of course, I think that I've got no chance at all to last of this kind of like. Well, I could take a good kick to the head now. I definitely think I'll be all right. I think I could get smacked around a few times and be okay. Hold it on for 2 years, no bother.
Yeah.
I'm making the same money he is, though,
Exactly. Split the person in half no matter what.
I'm not coming out of there with just a free, protein bar or whatever.
So here's a question. You're allowed to pick any 2 roosters in your corner to help you out. Who are you picking and why?
Who might help me out? All right. I'm definitely bringing Butch. He'd be just, he'd be a great corner man. I love Butch in my corner. So Butch would be there for sure. And geez, who else would I bring? I probably, who else I bring? I bring Jimmy Denise. Well, yeah.
I have a feeling he fights dirty.
That's what I mean. Yeah. He's got that jersey in him, Yeah, bring those 2. Yeah.
At least if Conor McGregor beats you, I think Denise will jump in and help you out. He's one of those guys.
Absolutely. Denise will finish him off for me, no problem.
That's great. Oh, I love it. All right. So the next one is your favorite sports movie.
Remember the Titans.
What is it? I mean, it has to be an age thing because you're like the 4th guy who said "Remember the Titans," and don't get me wrong, I love it. But
just like it's everything about it, Gary Bertier. You know what I mean? It's all about that. You know what I mean? I love that Denzel. Like, it's such a good movie. I like.
No, it's a great movie.
Message for it, but also just like there's so many other sports team movies like that are all a little bit cheesy and like, he got injured and he left or whatever, it's the same old blah, blah story. But, Remember the Titans, it's just like, I felt that there was just more. And, every time it does bring a little tear to my eye. I love it. I watch it again and again. No bother to me.
You guys should have a team movie night because you were like the 4th or 5th guy out of I don't know 12 interviews out there's like Remember the Titans.
I think it's many people's sports favorite movie. In fairness, it's a good one for sure.
Absolutely. So this is a controversial question for the Roosters because I've gotten different answers and I've gotten people, Kurt, who've called out other people, Mike Brown, about it. So I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite pre-match meal?
Oh, pasta. Oh, yeah. I do it every night. I make a big pasta, and I probably smack in about maybe like 2 or 3 plates of that. And then in the morning, I'll have another one, and that'll be me. Then I'll hold off till 3 hours into the game and whatnot. Same with the training as well, but into a game, definitely. But yeah, pasta's my go-to. It's my favorite food as well. I love it.
Awesome. And you're a forward, so you got to stay beefed up. You know what I mean?
That's it. You got to get in the calories somewhere, the carbs. It's got a carb load heavy.
I think if you and Butcher are the only two people probably, and Kurt, because Kurt seemed to be honest about it, who answered it honestly. You know, Butcher is intermittent fasting, so he said it depends on when game time is.
He's fasting.
That's what he told me. So he said it depends. He's like it depends. He's like it depends when, you know, if it's an afternoon game, so maybe I'll eat right before at night. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then, you know, Rob, Mike, and somebody else were like, oh yeah, we rarely eat, and Kurt Hamilton was like, yeah, they eat a lot. Trust me, I've seen him eat. So.
No, you got it. Like, it's always the night before. Just eat as much as you can, and definitely early in the day. You know, even if
hydrate, stick to that hydration.
Yeah, hydration is the biggest thing. The problem is if you eat too much prior to the game, like you're gonna be drinking and feeling bloated, and like then you don't know kind of how much water you've had, and like that's your biggest gauge. You know, the water. Like if you because you want to get at least 3 liters into you know, or at least 2 of them before the game, depending on what it is. You know.
Yeah, it's funny because Chris Mattina has the opposite of all you guys, and granted, I've interviewed a lot of the forwards because, you know, I like you guys.
That's it. Yeah.
Chris Mattina was like, I need sugar, specifically a lot of sugar, right before game time. And I'm like, really? He goes, absolutely. He goes, as the most sugar I can get, the better. I feel better when I play full. I was like, that's very interesting because most guys are the opposite.
I mean, I like feeling bloated naturally as a person. Like it's, you know, I just like feeling full, you know, just in case, you know, something happens and the stores close and, you know, we're on a ship and it's about to sink and we're on a raft. You never know what's going to happen. I want to make sure that I'm ready to go, you know, because like, you know, once we're in survival mode, we're in survival mode. But like in terms of like, you know, the eating wise, I sugar reacts so hard to me. Like I skyrocket, and then I come real hard crashing down. So I stay away from sugar until maybe the last 20 minutes of a game. I might have like a bit of Gatorade or something. But like, yeah, Jerry, I avoid the sugar. I know Butch is pretty good for avoiding the sugar too. He's always going, never eating the sweets and whatnot. But
I think it's
often though.
Yeah, and it's, you know, person by person, and I think health and nutrition is so personalized. Even when people who aren't professional athletes, or if you're just a club rugby guy, you know, you want to stay in that shape. So you know, Mattina must be burning those calories every day, where he's like, "Fuck it, I can have a donut when I want." You know?
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, absolutely. Well, sure. Look at him on his Instagram. He's there training as well. He's got that new academy set up. So you know, the man's, you know, pretty active throughout the whole day. I'll tell you, I hope he has a big bowl of pasta though. I'll bring him one next time I see him.
That's awesome. So this is another one that's been different for every guy. Well, except Mikey Brown and Butch, I guess because they work so closely with each other, they kind of had the same answer. But what do you do to calm the butterflies pre-match?
Well, you know, I actually have a bit of for me, it's a little different. I get very amped up and excited. I love it so much, even before training. It's actually a problem. Like it's like you're supposed to have fun, but if you're having too much fun, then it looks like you're not taking it serious, you know? So you have to have a good line of knowing, you know, how you know, you have to be professional about it, you know. And for me, I bring a lot of energy, and I probably defensively, that's my game. I'm an aggressive player, and I want to make that statement in the first 20 minutes. So for me, it's actually more about calming down than anything. I have I go through I do like little visualization things. I like to walk the pitch, listen to some music. And just kind of walk through, like, you know, where potentially lineouts would be if I'm going to be playing in hooker. You know, even a back row, just kind of feeling out like where it would be in the tackle and trying to just visualize the whole process. It just helps me calm down. And then when I'm in the game, I then can go back to that moment and kind of, you know, center myself. You know, I got, you know, a couple of things. I listened to, you know, a bit of Phil Collins, you know, Feel It in the Air Tonight. That's my pre-game song. And there's a nice build up to it, you know. It's not just like, you know, rah-rah in your ear. So, you know, I know Trevor likes to hear Metallica or something like that, but I'm having a calm moment. And the lads can tell you, you know, I need to stay calm. And that's what I do before a game is definitely remain as calm as possible. So I can blow the lid come to the kickoff, you know?
That seems to be everybody's thing generally, is get to that space where, like, you know, you get on the pitch and maybe there's 3 or 4 minutes left and you get really hyped for that first hit. And once that first hit happens, you kind of level off. And I think everybody gets there differently. But it all seems to kind of you guys get there differently, but you all get there at some point. So it's very interesting how it's different for everybody to get to that same point.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. And so my final question, this is a big one, and very important. Everybody wants to know, if you were not a professional rugby player, what other professional sport would you play?
Other professional sports. Well, I grew up as a sailor, to be honest. That's like my family sport. Yeah, I actually was like very good, and was either going to go down that road or rugby. Like, just sailing though, it's just so much travel, and there's so much like you have to sacrifice to get into it, and it's also not the cheapest sport in the world either. So, you know, I think I was like maybe like 15 when I kind of made the decision to kind of give that up. For like a lot of my friends at that stage where we're kind of moving over to, you know, go to the Olympics and stuff. And I just wasn't, you know, prepared for that. And to be honest with you, my dad used to make me go to all the trains for the nationals and all that stuff. And it was just so cold, Scott. Like, you know, I'd much rather crawl in the snow here than sit out in the Atlantic Ocean or the Irish Ocean on a dinghy, like, you know, for your Saturday, Sunday. So I think sailing would be my sport. Probably would like to go back. That's my retirement sport, Scott. I'm going to go do the America's Cup after this when I'm done. So
that's what you do. A lot of guys do. They're like, yeah, they're in like their 40s and 50s, and they're like, let's do America's Cup trials and fall overboard. I'm like, okay, that's very
career. Yeah, start a whole new career, no bother.
Listen, that's very interesting. I didn't expect that. You know, is that like a typical Irish sport? Is sailing?
No, I wouldn't say so. I grew up, as I said, like everyone's got their family sports, you know, like your dad, you know, my dad was sailed, and that's what he did. And so I was strapped to a mast at like, you know, 1 year old, and like, that's the way it's been for me. So it was probably my first thing I ever did was sailing, you know, until I could, you know, walk onto a pitch there. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a good culture at home. I mean, Ireland's an island after all, and you know, we got some really good yacht clubs, and there is a bit of buzz around it. But you know, like I said, it's not for everyone, and there is a lot of sacrifice, and it's not the most cheapest sport in the world either, Scott. So, you know, you have to make sure you've got some good money backing you up. So I suppose my parents were grateful that I went to play rugby, I'd say.
Absolutely. Cleats and a mouthpiece. That's it.
That's it. Off you go.
So thank you so much. I appreciate you being on. It was great having you. The answer, the sailing answer is I have questions. I'm going to be emailing you offline. I have tons of questions.
Absolutely. Fire them over. And we appreciate you having us on here, mate. You know, we love what you do, and just supporting the boys out here. And, you know, we all hope that we're going to come out of this and get back to playing, hopefully in the fall. And, yeah, trust me, we're all itching to get back to it as much as you are. So it's, this is just a little bit of it right here. And we appreciate you having us, mate.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure doing it. It's a pleasure talking to all you guys. I try and bring as much stuff to the Rooster Boosters as I can. So Rooster Boosters, thanks again for another wonderful week. Again, Oisin O'Neill, he's one of your Roosters. Yeah, we'll see him hopefully in 2021. Knock on wood, there's a season. And other than that, guys, I'll catch you all next week.